Imagine standing in a field of 120,000 people, the summer sun beating down on Hertfordshire, watching the greatest showman in rock history command a stage built with 8.6 miles of cable and 5,000 amplifiers. The man in the yellow military jacket is untouchable, his voice soaring through Bohemian Rhapsody, his presence electric as he leads the crowd through call and response chants. It's August 9th, 1986, and Queen is on top of the world. The Magic Tour has been a triumphant victory lap following the legendary Live Aid performance that had redefined the band's legacy just a year earlier. The crowd at Knebworth Park has paid £14.50 to £16 for tickets, and they are witnessing something they believe is merely the spectacular conclusion to an unforgettable European tour. Yet here is the strange and haunting truth that no one in that field knew. This was the end. Not just the end of a tour, but the final time Freddie Mercury would ever walk onto a stage with Queen. 5 years later, he would be gone, taken by bronchial pneumonia triggered by AIDS at just 45 years old. The concert would become one of rock's greatest mythological events, and the strange facts surrounding it only deepen the mystery. The concert at Knebworth Park was conceived as a victory lap. Queen had spent June and July 1986 crisscrossing Europe, playing 26 shows in support of their album A Kind of Magic Star. The tour had been massive, playing to more than 400,000 fans and owning the band £11 million. The 2 sold-out nights at Wembley Stadium had been professionally filmed and later released as Queen at Wembley *, cementing the band's reputation as one of the greatest live acts in history. But the final show at Knebworth was added because demand had been so overwhelming. This would be their biggest UK concert ever, and they wanted to go out with a bang. The band arrived in style, descending from the sky in a helicopter emblazoned with the album artwork for *A Kind of Magic Star. A photograph of the helicopter swarm was later used as a gatefold sleeve for the live album Live Magic Star. Freddie, bouncing with pre-show energy, joked that it wasn't bad for a slightly small gig. The atmosphere was celebratory, electric, and filled with the confidence of a band that believed they had many more years ahead of them. No one pressed record on the video cameras. No one thought they needed to. But looking back, the signs were there, small, almost imperceptible clues that something was wrong. Freddie Mercury had always been the life force of Queen, but behind the glittering stage persona, the man was quietly suffering. Just 2 weeks before the Knebworth show, during a stop in Budapest, a reporter asked Mercury if he would ever return to Hungary to perform again. His response was chilling in its prophetic simplicity: "If I'm still alive." It was a throwaway line, the kind of morbid joke rock stars often make. Yet it carried a weight that only Mercury himself understood. The reality was that the HIV virus was already incubating inside his body, slowly robbing him of the strength that had once seemed inexhaustible. He wouldn't be formally diagnosed with HIV/AIDS until 1987, but the symptoms were already beginning to manifest. Brian May later recalled a heated argument with Mercury during this period, when the singer concluded the dispute with a devastating statement: "Well, I won't always be here to do this." May and the other band members dismissed it as the typical exhaustion that followed a grueling tour. Freddie always complained at the end of a tour, they reasoned. Did we know it would be the last time? May later reflected. No. Freddie said something like, "Oh, I can't do this anymore. My whole body's racked with pain." But he normally said things like that at the end of a tour, so I don't think we took it seriously, really. Behind the scenes at Knebworth, however, the concert was anything but the smoothly orchestrated triumph it appeared to be on stage. The day was marked by chaos, tension, and behavior that left the band's crew baffled. According to Peter Hintz, Queen's longtime roadie, bassist John Deacon, usually the quietest and most reserved member of the band, acted completely out of character that evening. After the performance of Radio Gaga, Deacon inexplicably smashed his bass guitar into his amplifier. It was an explosive, violent act that no one had seen coming. He wasn't D off at his gear. He wasn't D off at me. I don't know what it was, Hintz recalled. John acted strangely on that tour. He was doing stuff that was out of character. For a man who had always been the steady, unflappable anchor of Queen's rhythm section. This was deeply unsettling. The tension extended beyond the stage. As the concert concluded with an encore of God Save the Queen, and Freddie, dressed in his crown and gown, bid the crowd good night and sweet dreams, a tragedy was unfolding in the massive audience. A 21-year-old fan was fatally stabbed in the crowd, and paramedics were unable to save him. The band learned of the death only after they had left the stage, a grim punctuation mark on what should have been a night of pure celebration. The most heartbreaking aspect of Freddie Mercury's final concert is the contrast between the public performance and the private reality. On stage, Freddie was transcendent. The setlist was a greatest hits collection that spanned Queen's entire career, from the early anthem Seven Seas of Rhye to the Live Aid revival of Radio Gaga and We Will Rock You. He performed with an energy that seemed supernatural, bouncing across the stage, engaging the crowd with his trademark call-and response, and delivering a rendition of Bohemian Rhapsody that sent shivers through the 120,000-strong audience. But the footage that survives, grainy, unofficial bootleg recordings shot by a Dutch fan filming one of the big screens, tells a more complex story. In the intimate backstage footage, we see a different Freddie Mercury. There he is, in his dressing room just minutes before the show, doing physical and vocal warm-ups, stretching and crouching, his phenomenal energy on full display. At one point, Roger Taylor wanders in, and the two engage in a playful vocal duel, collapsing into grins and giggles. It's a moment of pure joy, a glimpse of the genuine camaraderie that had defined Queen for nearly 2 decades. Yet there is also a vulnerability that is hard to watch. This is a man who knows, perhaps, that something is deeply wrong, even if he hasn't yet received a formal diagnosis. He tells the crowd, "I think most of you know this is the last stop on our tour. You know that, don't you? And such a beautiful way to end it. I mean, look at the lot of you." The words are meant as a celebration, but with the gift of hindsight, they carry a devastating weight. I might also add that this has been the best European tour for us, thanks to all you goes out there. He adds, his voice cracking with genuine emotion. If there is one fact about Freddie Mercury's final concert that stands out as the strangest, the most inexplicable, it is this: the show was never officially filmed. No one pressed record. For a band as meticulous as Queen, as obsessed with their legacy as they were, it seems almost unfathomable. There were big screens all around the arena, including a massive 20 by 30-foot video screen on the stage. The entire show was being fed to these screens, and yet, the footage was never recorded. Henry Lytton Cobbold, the owner of Knebworth House, who attended the concert in his 20s, recalls the horror of this oversight. "That's the big horror of the Queen concert," he later said. "They filmed the whole thing but didn't press record. So although they had the sound desk mix from that show, the only visual images are tiny little bits of news clips." Can you believe that on Freddie Mercury's last concert, The Great Showman, no one actually pressed record? The result is that Queen's final performance with Freddie Mercury exists only in fragments. There is a soundboard audio recording, which was later released partially on the Live Magic album. There is a Dutch bootleg, a single fan's handheld camera recording the big screen from the back of the audience. But there is no professional footage. The concert, which should have been immortalized as one of the great documents of rock history, is instead shrouded in a frustrating, almost cruel absence. The concert becomes a bit mythological because of that, Lytton Cobbold observed. The mythology is amplified by the knowledge that Queen had professionally filmed the Wembley shows just a month earlier. Why they chose not to film the Knebworth finale remains a mystery. Perhaps it was simple human error, an oversight by a road crew exhausted after a grueling tour. Perhaps the band, not knowing this would be Freddie's last show, simply didn't prioritize it. Whatever the reason, the result is that the visual record of Freddie Mercury's final concert is a ghost, a collection of blurry, distant images that only hint at the magnitude of what took place. There is another truth, more painful than the lost footage. Freddie Mercury did not receive his formal HIV diagnosis until 1987, a year after the concert. But the signs had been there. The exhaustion, the cryptic comments to his bandmates, the quiet acknowledgement, captured in a throwaway remark in Budapest, that his time might be limited. The band spent the next 5 years recording in private, producing albums like *The Miracle* and *Innuendo*, while Mercury's health deteriorated. He died on November 24, 1991, just one day after finally issuing a public statement confirming that he had AIDS. What remains is a profound sense of loss, not just of a singer but of a moment in time that can never be recovered. The Knebworth concert was not supposed to be the end. It was supposed to be a triumphant conclusion to a tour, a victory lap for a band that had reclaimed their throne at Live Aid. Instead, it became a farewell, the last chapter of a story that was cut tragically short. The strange facts of that day only deepened the impact. The unrecorded footage, John Deacon's mysterious outburst, the death in the crowd, the whispered comments from a man who knew, on some level, that he would never do this again. If I'm still alive, I won't always be here to do this. I can't do this anymore. My whole body's racked with pain. They are fragments, echoes of a truth that no one wanted to face. Perhaps that is why the concert remains so powerful, so mythic, even today. It is a reminder that the greatest moments in rock history are often the ones we didn't know we were witnessing. The fans who paid their £14.50 and stood in that field on August 9, 1986, thought they were simply attending a concert. They had no idea they were bidding farewell to one of the greatest artists of all time. And they weren't alone. The band themselves didn't know. The crew didn't know. The owner of Knebworth, watching from the side of the stage, had no idea he was witnessing history. In the end, the truth of Freddie Mercury's final concert is that it was both everything and nothing, a spectacular, unforgettable performance that was almost lost to time, and a poignant farewell that continues to resonate, decades later, in the hearts of fans around the world. The helicopters descended from the sky. Freddie sang his heart out. The crowd roared. And then, it was over. No one pressed record. No one knew it was the end. But in the strange, beautiful, heartbreaking mythology of Queen, that is exactly what makes it perfect.